Hi, Josh here. Today I'm working on the lathe. Be more specific, I am working on the apron part of the lathe. So you can better understand what I'm doing, let me first explain some of the controls on the apron. The biggest of size and importance is this wheel. It allows the operator to move the carriage back and forth. Behind it is a lever. Now this lever not only locks up this wheel so you don't accidentally move the carriage, but ties the wheel to the line feet. So if the line feet is turning, the carriage will move back and forth. This lever here does a similar function, except it activates the cross slide. This is actually useful for making scrolls. You also have this lever right here, which activates the half nuts which close around the lead screw. This is what you use for normal threading. First, I install the cover that goes in front of the clutch mechanism for the cross slide. This cover holds a rod that the handle is connected to. When this rod is turned, it puts pressure onto the clutch, engaging it. It also has a nut on the back which allows you to adjust pressure on the clutch. It also houses a ball bearing so that the handle snaps open when the clutch is not in use. Then I install the cover into the front of the apron. Like everything else on the lathe, it requires a little persuasion to get in. Now I install the handle for the clutch mechanism. After I got the handle installed, I realized there was a seal that sealed the shaft that the handle was attached to. So I had to remove the who knows how old O-ring and install a new one. This was a bit of a pain because I had already installed the cover into the apron and couldn't get all the way around with my knife or needle nose, as the case may be. After removing the wrong handle, I now install the correct handle. Need to take more pictures next time. As you can see, it's quite difficult to get the handle on. Lots and lots of hitting. Did I mention how hard these parts are to get back together? They had some really tight tolerances back then. Now I have to align the shaft to the handle so that I can get the taper pin in. So, more hammering. Next I install the bump out that goes behind the wheel that allows the carriage to go back and forth. I really need to figure out what these things are called. Anyway, when I was installing the shaft, it wasn't going in properly. Somehow it got burrs on it. I guess I messed it up when I first removed it. So I have to grind these off and try again. Okay, so now that I got the burrs off, apparently the caffeine ran out. I have no idea why this is slower. Anyway, as you can see, it goes in like butter now. Or more like nuts through a cheese grater. Anyway, I eventually get it in. But there's also another seal that I forgot to take out. Those seals. You got any sardines? They're hungry. This seal is being a bit more temperamental than the other one, so I have to take the bump out off again so I can get all the way around with my knife and cut out the really old, really dry rotted, really stuck seal. Now it's time to work on the back half of the apron. These are the clutches that I've been talking about. When they press against one of the large gears, they bind up and will turn with the gear. Next, I install this gear. This gear is multi-step. The big gear that you can see, it reduces the speed of the handle to get you more precision. The gear behind it, which you probably can't see, runs off the rack that's attached to the lathe. The shaft I'm installing now has oil ports on it to reduce friction of the big gear. That's why orientation matters. As you can see, to the right of the apron, I've already installed the half nuts. I don't know why I didn't get a video of that. Must have been a bad angle. Anyway, because this thing is filled with oil, I'm applying RTV silicone so it doesn't make a big mess. Now it's time to join the two halves of the apron together. Just like everything else with the lathe, they just slide right together. Not. There's actually some problem. I believe, if I remember correctly, that because the half nuts are somewhat closed, the locking mechanism to prevent you from also engaging the clutch for the wheel that goes back and forth prevented it from seating all the way down. If that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. Let's just say I should have installed the half nuts after I put the two halves together. I think I realized about the interlock between the half nuts and the clutch mechanism. Let's watch as I try to struggle to get these two stupid things together. Dude, there's an interlock. Open the half nuts. Open them. Open them now. Here's it finally went together. I don't know if I opened the half nuts or not. I probably did. Although I took pretty much everything I just put on off, so you know it's going good then. It's really annoying when you have RTV silicone that's drying. You need to get it together real quick. It's a good idea when you're working with silicone and freshly painted parts to have paper towels on hand. Let's put the parts I just put on, which I just took off, back on again. About here, I'm realizing that the clutch mechanism seems to be jammed. So I readjust the camera. I should probably edit that out, but I'm too lazy. And I didn't even readjust it right. You can't even see anything. You need a camera, man. Wait, it feels like I just installed this part. Oh well, throw it back in anyway. Just tap it right in. So after a lot of fiddling around, I thought I found the problem. There's a little bit of caulk on a raceway for the bearing. But as it turns out, this is not the problem. I also have another problem. I hate plastic tables. You'll know why in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, they're really unstable. I mean, would you have thought that that would have fallen? Also, pounding a really flexible table might not have been my brightest moment. But luckily there was no damage. So after I found the problem, I started putting it back together for the second or third or 400th time. This is starting to get annoying. Alright, now it's almost together. But wait, what was wrong? To understand what went wrong, I drew a very bad picture. Follow my mouse here. This is the gear assembly that you saw in the back half of the apron. This green part is the clutch. It presses into the gear to engage. This is done by the lever which turns this shaft right here. This shaft has a flat spot. Now when it's disengaged, this flat spot allows this blue lever to raise up. But when you want to engage the clutch, you turn it, you turn the lever, which presses this blue lever down, which then pushes against a metal disc, which then pushes against the thrust bearing, which then pushes the whole mechanism into the gear. Now my problem was these thrust bearings aren't one complete set. You got the raceways and the actual ball bearings. These raceways have a minute difference in the bore diameter. So what ended up happening is I stuck the 2 smaller raceways inside and the 2 larger ones outside. Where it should go is bigger one, small one, bigger one, small one. What ended up happening is this smaller raceway wouldn't sit in the proper spot, pushing this whole mechanism into the gear, engaging the clutch. Now it's time to install the apron. It's rather heavy, so I got my dad to help me. The apron is pretty much suspended by 4 bolt/screws. They're bolts, but they got flatheads, so they're technically screws. Or are they bolts? Does a bolt need to have a bolt head to be a bolt? Interesting question. Making sure everything works. Unfortunately, my dad put the wrong bolt in the wrong hole. I had a bolt specially ground down because I was afraid that it would hit the cross slide. And because I'm missing a bolt, you had to take it out while I hold it and move it over, and then install the proper bolt in the proper hole. Just tightening, making sure everything's working, and good. It installed. Yay! I don't have any clapping sound effects. I tried, I couldn't get any. Hey, wait a minute. You think just because I hung the apron, this video is finished? Get that hand off the mouse. Still got more to show you. Alright, this is the inside part of the front of the apron. Follow my mouse. Right here is an oil pump. It is driven by the handle that moves the carriage back and forth. It pushes oil through these tubes. Those pipes channel the oil into the top part of the carriage. From there, the oil splits off into a couple different directions. There is a copper pipe embedded here that channels the oil into the back way that the carriage slides upon. There's another one right around here that deposits oil onto the front way that the carriage rides upon. And there's another channel that goes through the top part of the carriage, goes up a little and splits off right around there to oil the cross slide way. That's the part right there. There's also a couple small reservoirs, one here, one there, and one there. These fill up to a point and then overflow back into the top part of the apron. It fills up this reservoir right here. From that reservoir, there are several small wicks that hold the oil into certain spots of the carriage to lubricate pretty much all the moving parts of the carriage. I shot some footage of the oil being pumped into one of the reservoirs. I couldn't find a spot to use it, but it's so riveting that I thought I'd let you enjoy the pumping oil at the end of the video. Well, almost the end. Let's sit back and watch. It like resembles a pulse. It's like the machine is alive. It's pumping and pumping and pumping. Alright, that's enough of that. Well, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, why don't you hit that like button? You know what? You should just hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss any of my videos. Especially the one that will be about my mic stand that I'm making. So that my snowball mic won't block my monitor anymore. Anyway, why don't you also share this with a friend? I need to get my views up, and sharing is one of those ways that could be accomplished. Okay, it's the only way. I don't know anybody. Please share. Please. Anyway, bye.